Hello and welcome to everyone to our channel. I am Nikhil Sabalania from New Delhi. Today I am going to talk about an interesting chapter of our Indian democracy that has happened today in the year 2025, and that is about inclusion of caste in the next population census. That is a caste based population census, and it is said that this census is taking place after 1931. Now, there are some concerns about the timing of this announcement of caste based census, and is it worth to have a caste based census now? Why British did caste based census? Who are the real targets of the caste based census? What consequences would it have, will it have in the Indian politics? These are the important things which I am going to discuss in this video. So before we understand all these things, let us understand OBC, that is other backward classes. Who are they? As per government, as per religion. If we understand this historical aspect of other backward classes, then it would be easier for us to understand the future of the caste based census and other things. Now, before I proceed to tell you about who are these other backward classes, let us go back to the industrial era of 19th century. The first population census was conducted by British, and that included caste, was in 1881. To my knowledge, I'm not sure, but it was 1881, I think. They put caste in 1881, but the actual representation for on the basis of caste came for the scheduled caste after 1935 Government of India Act. Now let us understand that why they did that caste based census. So it was not that they just wanted to include all the Indians or all the Hindus into the emerging India, the changing India of that time. It was their need. Some people call it reward, some people call it affirmative action for reservation. I say it is a compensation, and it was also a necessity, and it was also a tool for what? For implementing the European industrialized production in India, of implementing the industrial revolution in India, but not a full revolution, partial revolution. Let us go back to the history of industrial revolution in England. What happened in England? That when they established districts dedicated to factories called factory districts, with the invention of steam engine, they could run machine automatically without the help of any other force, any other motive force. and that motive force could be wind, water, stream of water, animals, and human beings. But apart from automation, an interesting thing to be noticed is that the traditional way of or the traditional means of production was destroyed by industrial revolution. Now this destruction of the traditional means of production, it was not something to be proud of. It was not something gradual. It was not something natural. It was not organic. It was forced. They captured the land, the rural land. They stopped the agriculture. They forced the people from the rural area to come to the district towns in England and Wales, England and Scotland, in Wales and other districts. Now there were two needs, basic needs of these industries. One is a worker and another is a consumer. They could not be separated. They have to be the same mass of people. So now, devoid of their traditional occupations, devoid of their social status of being a producer, of being a manufacturer, of being a producer. Manufacturing is different. When I say manufacturing, it means manufacturing by machinery and automated system. And when I say production, it means that by traditional means. So devoid of their power of production, devoid of their skill of that manufacturing, that production system, they were pushed into the factory system where they became another types of slaves. Slaves who will work and slaves who will consume the production of the factory. Now that system British brought to India, and it was their design for what we call as political economy. That is an economic system where things are produced for the purpose of generating capital. Everything depends upon the labor of the people rather than on their skill. So it kills the skill, it kills the social status, and it makes a society which is dependent upon the new means of production and the people who control them. So in India, most of the manufacturers of commodities or the service providers belongs they belong to what we call today as scheduled castes and other backward classes. They were the most of the producers. So the other classes like Brahmins, they were in the only one sector providing service for education and administration. But they were not manufacturers. And they were given education by the British people in the very beginning. They and caste together. First they gave to caste, then they wanted to give to the Brahmins, but Brahmins didn't come to them, considering that they eat cow, British eat cow. But caste joined them and then Brahmin joined them, seeing the benefits castes were getting. So they were given education, they became educationists, they became teachers, they became advocates, they joined the administrative service in the new British government after 1857. They were given reservation in the army also. Brahmins were given reservation. Along with them, same thing was done to the Muslims also. And the princely states, they surrendered to the Queen of England. but their status was kept intact. Their children were raised in the new British system, so that a new ruling class would also emerge, and the business community or business caste or class of India, that is the Vaishya or Baniyas, they remained their trader, they remained the agents of the British businesses, the trading system that they developed, the manufacturing system. They were that before that, but before they were not producers, they were traders. In British system, after British system, they also became producers and big capitalists. They were never capitalist in India. Later on, they became capitalist. But these people constitutes not more than 9 to 12% of the population of India. And the majority of the work were done by the various castes, and these castes are included in the scheduled caste and scheduled and other backward OBC, other backward classes, that is scheduled caste and OBCs, SC and OBCs, and there is another category called scheduled tribes. Now, scheduled tribes are people in the remote areas, in the forests. Now, they were also given representation because not for just welfare, but because these other classes wanted to enter into the forest land for various raw materials, resources, minerals, etc. So this was the British system. So British knew that we have given education to Kayas and Brahmins, and to Kshatriyas also are with us, and Vaishya is also doing business with us. So who will do the industrial work? Who would be the consumers? And if we would leave the consumers like without work, there could be revolt. And their population is like over 80% of the population of Hindus, scheduled castes, scheduled and OBCs. And if we include scheduled this the tribal population, scheduled tribes, then this population becomes over 85% or so. Not 85, but I think if we include Muslims in the 85% of the population of Hindus, they will remain, I think. So this large population was not only going to become unemployed, they are going to become redundant because their traditional means of works were going to change fundamentally. Some remained same, but most of them were going to change. That is why I said it is a compensation, and it is also a need. So who will run these factories and who will become the consumers? If the administration is done by one class, Brahmins, if we security sector is given to one class, that is Kshatriyas, if the trading and distribution is given to Vaishyas, then who would consume these things? Because these consumers were actually producers. They were consuming what they were producing. Now producers have become separate. And not only it would become economically disadvantageous for them, not only it would change their status, traditional status forever, it's going to make them a waste part of society without any skill. Because in industrialization, machines keep improving. So a person working on one machine becomes redundant with another machine. Machine never becomes redundant. Even the old machine is used by some other group, but the person who is working on the old machine becomes redundant. So this was the need for which the reservation was brought. Basically, people said the caste system was there, discrimination was there, Discrimination was among all the castes, even between the Baniya and Brahman and Kshatriya, discrimination remained there. More discrimination was there against Shudra, more discrimination was there against scheduled caste or Dalits, and the worst discrimination was against the tribal population, that they were never given any opportunity in the urbanization, in the growth of the human race. Now let us understand other backward classes. Today, when we talk about other backward classes, it means historically by the ancient texts of India among Hindus. There are also classes which are considered as other backward classes. Among Muslims also reservation is also given to them. But in Hindu religion, they are considered as Shudra, a fourth one, a fourth class of Hindu society. The Hindu society divided into four classes, and then there is a one fifth class which is outside these four classes, but they were also Hindus. Some people, and sometimes I also thought that when this fourth fifth class is outside, it is not inside, then could it be called as Hindu? But the answer is yes, and the answer is coming from the story of Raja Harishchandra. In that story, there was a dome, a person, a Chandal person. The Chandal is considered as low caste, but the Chandal purchased a king Harishchandra, and he was also Hindu. And now scheduled castes are considered as, the Chandal is considered as scheduled caste. They are Hindu. They became this fifth one not at that time of Harishchandra, but later on. This is interesting thing. Recently, I saw a person from Chaurasiya caste asking a Shankaracharya, I think Shankaracharya of Odisha, about the caste system. Shankaracharya replied that there was no caste system. So even a king, Kshatriya king Harishchandra could be bought as a slave by a Chandal. Now the interesting thing is that when he said this thing, he did not say about another fact, that at the time of Harishchandra, this system of four classes was not there, or four one was not there. There was a system of three one. The fourth one, that is Shudra, didn't exist at that time. The selection of one. So Shudra didn't exist, and nor exist the fifth one. Fifth, which is out of the one system, fifth class, which they call Antyajya, or they call whatever name they wanted to give. Now they are considered as scheduled caste. So this was not there. This means they were also part of Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Brahman. They were also part of these. And he did not tell that before, earlier. So among Hindus, there is a ceremony called Upnayan Sanskar, Yagopavit. Upnayan Sanskar means basically it is a kind of stage where a person is given permission to get educated under a guru, and he would get a surname of guru, and guru would decide the one or his class, as either he would be Brahman, a Kshatriya, or a Vaishya, no Shudra. Now who was Shudra at that time? This Dr. Ambedkar has written in one of his books who were Shudra and how they become fourth one in the Indo-Aryan society. That Shudra were one of the clans of Kshatriya, and that name of that clan is coming from Manu. So Shudra were not a class, they were not a one, they were a clan of Kshatriya. And it is written in the one of the chapters of Mahabharata. So at the time of Harishchandra, there were only three one. There was no fourth one. Shudra was not there. And the decision that whether a person would become Brahman, Vaishya, Kshatriya depend upon the will of the guru or the teacher. The teacher or the guru used to conduct Yagopavit, used to conduct Upanayan ceremony, which decided two major things: right of getting education and right of getting property. And this ceremony was also for women. Later on, they changed this thing when Manusmriti was written, when there was a Brahmin revolution, that one class of people tried to consolidate themselves, make the other classes and their class as a freest class, and created another one called fourth one called Shudra. And then later on we see one more one came, another class came. Now this class is outside, but the difference between the fourth newly created class or a one called Shudra and the previously existed classes Brahman, Kshatriya and Vaishya, the difference lied in the right of Upanan to be conducted or not. Now this new class was devoid of this ceremony. Dividing them of this ceremony means dividing them of the two important rights connected with right to property and right to education. So those who are having this ceremony of Upanan were called as Dvij. Dvij means twice born, that one birth you get from mother through mother, and another birth like a baptism through this ceremony. Now what happened that when this thing was done, it was so whoever opposed the authority of the Brahmins were made or declared Shudra. Now according to the Brahmins, no Kshatriya is left. They say that one of the sage, which was a Brahmin named Parshuram, killed all the Kshatriyas 21 times. Whoever remained, he killed. Then their wives came to him and he had relationship with them, and then the next offsprings, the children became Kshatriya. So these Kshatriyas were technically Brahmin because they are from Parshuram and who was a Brahmin, and the caste is considered by the caste of father. Now it is interesting to note that when earlier one was to be given by the teacher, what happened and how and what instrument they used to make the one stagnant is that they changed this right of deciding the class or one by the teacher to the right of father. So whatever the was the class of father or the one of father remained same as the class of son. They divided to women also. So women were divided also of not only the right of Upanan ceremony but also of education and property. That is why in Hindu law system, dependent upon Manusmriti, Naras Samhita and other schools of thought, either they gave by some they gave some property or little property to women, or they didn't give any property. I am not saying these things good or bad, right or wrong. I am telling you all what is there written. Now these people whoever opposed them, so like Kshatriyas were opposing them, they say that we kill all the Kshatriyas, though Dr. Ambedkar never accepted this notion. He says it could not be that. So basically, their opposition was coming from the Kshatriyas and people who were continuously declared as Kshatriyas, as Shudras, or away from Shudras, Antyaj, were actually Kshatriyas, the warrior classes. So these Kshatriya turned into Shudra. Now it is interesting you consider some of the caste and some of the historical aspect. Take the example of Yadav caste. Now Yadav by Hindu text they are considered as the from Krishna, Lord Krishna. Now Lord Krishna was Kshatriya, but Yadav was considered as Shudra. So there are many castes who were once a ruler. Now they are considered as Shudra. So the word Shudra changed its meaning. From the meaning of one of the class, one of the clan of Kshatriya, it became of the people to be disgusted with, of the people who are lowly, of the people who should be devoid of education and devoid of property, people who should be doing the most menial work, people who would be doing whatever the ruling class Brahmin that became at that time would say. But it wasn't easy for them, and this we find from the emergence of Marathas, the stronghold of Jats. These are the various castes. Maratha is a combination of various castes. Jat is a one caste. Gujar is a one caste. These castes, Meena, another caste, now they are included as scheduled tribe. They were the rulers, and they were considered by the Brahminical texts by Brahmins as Shudra or the lowly people. These are the people now in the category of other backward classes with many other castes also. Now you will understand the internal struggle between the Brahminical system and between the Shudra, Kshatriya who are made Shudra from the episode of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. You must have seen recent movie Sambhaji and must be disgusting, must got like get disgusted by Aurangzeb. But now when you will understand what I will tell you, and it is written, you will disgust more not Aurangzeb but the people, other people. I won't say that you disgust with them now, but historically you could say. So when the history of Marathas, struggle of Marathas starts from 556 BC to 1930 BC, up to the time of till the time of Shahuji Maharaj and till now also. Now they were struggling not just for wealth. Wealth was always there. They were struggling for the status of a Kshatriya within Hinduism. Now take the example of Shivaji who was fighting against Aurangzeb. This Shivaji, when became a ruler, when he declared himself a ruler, now people say that he was a Hindu king. Now, what I will tell you, then you will say, was he a Hindu king or not? Now, who is a Hindu? First, understand this thing. Hindu is a Hindu who is mentioned in the Ved or Vedas, in the Rig Ved, which is the ancient book, most oldest book. So Rigved says Brahman, Kshatriya and Vaishya are part of the body of the god and they are a part of society. This means they all are Hindu. But when they did coronation of Shivaji, they, despite his wish, despite his lot of favors, his gifts, they did his coronation not by Vedic rituals but by Puranic rituals. Now they do the rituals for Shudra by Puranic ceremonies. Now Puran or Purans are different textbooks which are considered as lowly as compared to Ved, and among Ved the highest authority is Rigved. So when there is a because Rigved says there is a Hindu, but by Rigved, because he is a Hindu and because he is a Shudra, he cannot be a Kshatriya. So now my question is, if he cannot be, if his coronation was not done by Vedic ceremony and Ved declares he is a Hindu, can we say he is a Hindu? Was he a Hindu ruler? Now many politicians say that he is a Hindu ruler. Of course he was a Hindu. He was a Hindu by Ved. But same in within Hindu religion, there is another the class is of Hindu, that he was a Shudra Hindu. And Shudra cannot become a ruler. That is why they were objecting his coronation, calling him a Chhatrapati. It means the king, the biggest king. These things have happened throughout centuries. Even when the foreign invaders came, even when they ruled India, they did not change all these things, nor the classes were willing to change. So this struggle is going on of these classes of people, the classes which are considered as Shudra. Now their struggle I have made in another video, though that is in Hindi. Now I say their struggle is not for means, not for just for benefits, commercial benefits. Their struggle is for getting a higher status in Hindu society or an equal status, I would say. That if Shivaji became a king, then he should be declared a king by the religion. He was fighting for Hindu but couldn't be declared a king, Chhatrapati king, almighty king by the Hindu text. Now this irony is there. So within Hinduism, there is this class struggle going on. And it is carried from that time, ancient time, for over 2000 years it is carrying on. And now have understood one thing is why British brought industries to India, what was their need. They wanted things to be done, they wanted to change the things, to change the agriculture, to change the means of production. For that they needed producers, workers, consumers and raw materials, and they all were coming from mainly from OBCs or other backward classes and scheduled castes, and also from scheduled tribes. So when India got independent, they wanted representation They were denied of it. Then one commission was set up. Then another commission was set up. The party that set up another commission, which was like old party of BJP, Jansang. So when was the time to implement that commission? They they quit the government and changed the government. So when VP Singh launched representation for them, then the same Hindus opposed them, as we know about Mandal Commission. Then when Congress implemented it, then there were also again protests by the Hindus. So whenever the Hindus were getting anything, one class of Hindu were getting any representation or benefits, another class of Hindu always opposed that. Now this is the problem with Hindus. And it is not a problem with so-called upper caste or so-called lower caste or so-called middle caste or so-called. Each caste is a class, and each caste struggles with, hates another caste. A Baniya, a Vaishya hates a Kshatriya or a Khatri, hates a Brahmin, Brahmin hates another caste. Even among scheduled caste, one caste, Jatav, hates Valmiki, hates Khatik, hates Dhobi, and so in the OBCs. Now about this thing, should we say that because all hate each other, all struggle against each other, so they should be devoid of the new education system? Interesting thing Dr. Ambedkar said about Hindus, that Hindus opposed Marxism, considering it that there is a class struggle in the Marxism, but the struggle is by the one single class and class of labor. But when they see within themselves thousands of class, that is thousands of castes, struggling with each other, then they would find that there is a more struggle in Hinduism than in Marxism. Interesting thing is that he has written this in his one of the texts which is published under the title Philosophy of Hinduism. Now come to the present. Why I am talking about all these things, and particularly about the OBCs? Because they are the target of caste-based census, considering their larger population than any other classified groups of Hindus. But it is interesting that the same group of people opposed the previous implementation of commissions. When VP Singh brought Mandal Commission, when VP Singh declared, then Congress was behind the youth to push them to oppose VP Singh. But the same Congress implemented it in 2005. But within Congress, some leaders opposed Arjun Singh, and opposition also came from BJP and RSS. This is the caste rivalry of Hindus. But when this demand for the caste based census was emerging, that was the time when there were more government sector, jobs were more in the government sector, more than they are now. And most of the educational institutions were government educational institutions, at least in the higher education system. Only government education system was there. Private was almost negligible. Things were done more manually. Computerization didn't begin at that time. But comparing that to now, we will understand that this announcement is not just for the gain of winning the election to gain more number of votes, but it is useless now. It is redundant now. But the most devastating part of this announcement is the timing of the announcement. It's announced at the time when our country is getting united to fight against Pakistan. Just 10 days back, a sad incident has occurred in the valley of Kashmir at Pahalgam. 28 Indian citizens are not only murdered by the Pakistani sponsored terrorism, but their murder was designed to balkanize India, to divide India on the basis of religion. But still, our people from any caste, any religion got united and asking our Prime Minister that go and fight against Pakistan. So now can we say that the government has announced this caste-based census as to divert people from what they are demanding? I think it is not like that. I think that it was already a plan of them. And making the movie Phule on the life of Jyotiba Phule, which is considered as one of the eminent person and the most eminent person, one of the eminent person from the other backward classes and the most eminent person of the movement of Shudras before Dr. Ambedkar is Mr. Jyotiba Phule, as we call him, our beloved Mahatma Jyotiba Phule. Now they made this movie. Many people are not understanding. I have made two videos. One a talk with my friend Kushal Sharma and another my solo video. That it is the design of BJP to make this movie. It is a full-fledged planning to create controversy. Now the next plan. This was plan A, to make a movie to create controversy, to appeal to other backward classes. Plan B, announce caste-based census. This is their plan. It is a plan of BJP. One of the producer, Mr. Choksi, is from Gujarat. The people in the censor board like Vivek Agnihotri are close with BJP. The distributor G has got loan writ off from BJP. Anurag Kashyap is also acting as a middleman, he is actually their PR agent. He must be having some PR company now. They are not concerned about the economics of this. It is a project, political project. So plan B is announcement of caste-based census. Plan C, it will go to up to 1 year. Plan D, they will say that we are giving reservation to all the OBCs, as they have already done this with the, or to give reservation to all Indians on the basis of economics. economical status, on the basis of economic status. Now, why it is useless now? So, as I said, that requirement of this caste-based census was there when there were more opportunities. And now look at the world now. As you have seen from the recent incident in Rajasthan, that for some posts, lakhs of people applied. For the post of peon, people having PhD holders are applying for that. The sector of government has decreased a lot. There are no government jobs left. And interestingly, there are no jobs left now. And there won't be any jobs. In the government job, government is not doing manufacturing. Most of the things are manufactured by private sectors. Government is not doing agriculture. Government is, apart from railway, government is not providing any service, or some buses and some hospitals. Some schools are there, but that can't provide much job. Even in those systems, most of the 90% jobs are on the contract basis, not regular jobs. So there is a no job guarantee. The size of the government jobs have reduced, and in future, when everything will be done by artificial intelligence based computers, by quantum computers, by automated robots, how many jobs would be left? Today the world is changing. Look at the time since chat gpt has come, since automated videos have come to now. Anchors are becoming, there are AI channels, AI teachers, AI calculation system. All the blue collar jobs are going to artificial intelligence. Music is created by, singer is also AI, everything is by AI. Automated vehicles are coming, electric vehicles means automated vehicles. Everything will become smart. Smart means automated. You don't need human factor in that. Whole manufacturing service sector, drones will come. So where are the jobs government is going to give? Already the size of the government has decreased. Most of the jobs are on the contract basis. Education has become privatized. By private education, they are earning for the education which is a useless. The education has also become useless now. You look at the NCRT books, some same chapters are there in the books for the last 40 years or more. Books belong to, so like the books belong to older system, so is the demand of the caste based system. And now the timing of this announcement is very devastating to the unity of India, because this will create another chapter of the caste conflict. Now coming to the question of Shudra. Who are they? Who are other backward classes? Do they really need representation? Are they lacking something? In my another video I said they are not struggling for resources. They are well off. As the case of Maratha Empire, they were empires. Look at the castes which are in the other backward classes. Take the first example of Maratha. They were rulers, big agriculturists. They are having big animal farms. They are factory owners. Why they need a simple government job? On what basis? Their fight of OBCs is not for the means. Their fight is for the respect. They have built empires in India as the case of Shivaji, but they were not given a respect as the case of Shivaji. They were not given respect as the case of Shauji Maharaj. So this class of people, it is not that they are poor, it's not that they have lack of resources. Takes examples of some other castes from North India. Take the caste of Mr. Narendra Modi, Teli caste. Now Teli caste is traditionally having control over the edible oil for the whole country. So can you say that a class of people, a small class of people controlling the edible oil, and then they were also in the distribution system of kerosene oil, and some of them then turned to the owners of petrol pump because they had money. So can you say that people who are having control over edible oil business, it's like it's like you are saying the owner of a castrol oil company is a backward. Can you call him a backward? Can he be backward? Now another interesting, the caste of jewelers, Sunar, having surnames like Soni. So can you call jewelers, jewelry manufacturers as backwards? And jewelers not only just mean the laborers. Laborers are not from this caste. Laborers come from other lower castes. So can you call Sunars backward? Take another caste, example of the caste, Jat caste. According to the Brahmin, they are Shudra, they are lowly. But in practice, they rule a huge part of North India. They were the rulers. So can a ruler be called backward? They control the land, they control the distribution of food. Can we call them backward? So are another caste, Gujar. They control lands, they control milk. Yadav is a caste which control the distribution and production of milk. Gujar distributed, Yadav produced. Now consider the owner of a big company, though it is not a company by single person, but suppose a country like big country like India, where one class of people controls the distribution of milk product. Can we say that is a backward? Can we call it backward? And they are also owner of the lands also in the agricultural system also. Take the example of carpenter caste, Badai. They were having so much demand for their work. Can we call them backward? And with money, it's not that they are not getting education. They are getting education. They Vishwa Hindu Parishad has established schools for them by the name Sanatan Dharm Saraswati Shishu Mandir. So they are given modern education. They are well off people. These are the people who are in the backward classes. So how can we call them backward now? They are not backward. What they wanted is the respect. Like the case of Shivaji. He wanted his coronation to be done by the Vedic ceremony, but it was done by a Puranic ceremony. Like the case of Yadav community, like the case of caste community. Caste is not coming as backward, but it is considered as Shudra. So in the Indian courts, some courts declared caste as Shudra, some courts declared caste as Kshatriya, And some courts declared Yadav, who are descendants of Lord Krishna, as Kshatriya, some declared them as Shudra. So their fight is not for the fight of for money, or not for the fight of education, or not for the fight of uh, means. They are well off. Now take the recent example of Akhilesh Yadav. When he when his term got over, then before that incident I have never seen him talking about the caste based discrimination. But after he leaving the office, his office was washed with cow urine, gaumutra. Washing by gaumutra means to making it poised, to making it pure. That thing hurted him, and from that time he started talking about caste based discrimination. His need is not money, his need is not education. He is a well educated man coming from education, getting education from Australia. His father was a chief minister. But at that moment, he started talking about caste discrimination. That hurted him. So are other people. Even Mr. Modi also talked about caste discrimination. So this thing we should understand. Now this thing which BJP has declared, and other parties, I won't consider talking about Congress now, because I have mentioned you the stand of Congress, that when people wanted, Congress did not give them, and even when Congress gave them reservation to the OBCs, then many people from within the Congress opposed it. So Congress has no stand. Now BJP, when they say that we are going to do the caste based census, next thing when they will say that we are going to give more representation in the jobs and in the educational institutions to the other backward classes. Now the question comes, is it just another jumla? It means, is it just another puff they are creating? And they are expert at creating puff. On this aspect of announcements, I would say that Congress is a party, though it has some, you can't say that it doesn't have a stand on something, but when they take a stand they do it. But problem with BJP is puff. Puff means that, what is a puff? Puff is a word come from advertising agency. Like you see on TV, Maggie in 2 minutes. Put our cream and become like a British Gora, white person. This is called puff. Like, join our this scheme and you will become rich. So the share companies, the advertisers, they say this jumla or this puff. So like BJP said, we will give 15 lakh rupee to each Indian. We will bring black money to India. It is another puff they are saying. They will say, they have not said, but they will say. Now even if they implement it, firstly, as I said, that the government sector is decreasing, that automation is coming on the way, that the education system has become privatized. Will they be able to Do it. Now, forget about BJP. Let's consider that which class of people or which majority of the people are ruling India for the last 75 years. Either BJP, either Congress, either VP Singh, either Chandrasekhar. We will not consider VP Singh because he announced. But I am I have taken his name from the point of view of the class of people. That is the so-called upper caste or upper classes of Hindus or Hindus. I would say Hindus. I don't want to divide them. I would say Hindus are ruling. Now, who are these Shudra? They are also Hindu. People who are ruling are also Hindu. Now, who was opposing these people? Hindus. Hindus opposing Hindus. So when Hindus, either in the form of Congress, either in the form of BJP, either in the form of Chandrasekhar, opposed it, opposed them, what is the guarantee that they would give them anything now? Some would say that government has given a reservation to the all people on the basis of economic status, EWS, economically weaker section. But then again I say that do they really have the jobs for them? A good number of jobs. See, it serves the purpose of the people who wanted to form the government, then the real beneficiaries of people, and the real beneficiaries of the government for whom the government is made. So recently I was listening a podcast on social sites, and very interesting thing they say that people who join social sites, they never get anything because these sites are not made for users, these sites are made for investors. Likewise, governments are not made for people. They say it is for the people. No, it is not made for the people. It is made for the investors who invest in the political parties. They have no use to the common man. They have no use to the users, that is voters or the citizens. So when Hindus were already ruling, they have never given to them till now. What guarantee is that they will give now when the size of the government sector is already contracting? Okay, so this thing we will also understand from my personal experience. My mother served Indian government. She had a friend in the Ministry of Finance. She was section officer of the one of the department in the Ministry of Finance that dealt with or that deals with the appointment of scheduled caste people in the banking jobs. So after working for some time in that department of Ministry of Finance that deals with the jobs of scheduled caste people in the banks, nationalized banks, one day she told to my mother that do you know that despite having a good number of people, qualified people, intentionally these people who are at the controlling position in the banks, they don't give jobs to scheduled caste people. So they say not found suitable and they write not found suitable, and then those jobs are given to the people who are not scheduled caste, generally to their relatives or their caste people or their class people. This thing is very common and now people talk about this. NFS, not found suitable. So under such circumstances, along with the inherent hatredism for each other's caste, the age old struggle of caste, what is the guarantee that the appointments would be made, that they would implement it properly? So I don't think so that they would implement it. Now RSS is a very strange organization, need to be understood. Now the head of the RSS says that we are against caste-based census. Now this thing is happening for a long time, that whatever some new scheme BJP launches or whatever they say, at many occasions RSS say no, we are against it. We are against it. So actually they are not against it. They are buying time to implement that thing and to suppress the voice of dissent. So when they say that no, we are against it, so the people goes to them and listens to them. Okay, RSS, what you are saying? RSS said no, we are against it. We don't like this thing to happen. Storm is coming. So then BJP say okay, we are considering what RSS is thinking. So people moves to BJP to understand what BJP is saying. Then BJP say, okay, we have considered them, but we will do it also. So they buy time. Then RSS say, okay, we have something. If they will do this thing in that way. So people moves to RSS. Okay, RSS, what are you saying? So RSS says that okay, we are thinking that okay, this thing can be done, but these things should be kept in mind. Meanwhile, BJP does what RSS and BJP has decided, and it turns out in their favor. Now, it is interesting that when BJP is a political wing of RSS, why they how it could be possible that their things are not discussed or fixed? The reality is that it is not that their things are not fixed, but this opposition which RSS will create is also fixed. So it is another kind of match fixing takes place. So these things are fixed. Now I think I have explained you many things. You would be also expecting my own words, that whether this caste-based census should take place or not. I don't understand that when everything is computerized, each birth is recorded on computers, then why we don't have, how it could be that we don't have a proper data of caste, proper data of people? Then when people are attending schools from the primary level and they write their caste, how is it that we don't know about the caste? We are issuing caste based certificates. How it could be that we don't know about the caste, the number of caste, the number of people? We already have data, and with the same AI which is going to take the jobs, we can do the recordings, we can do the calculation of all these data within few minutes and calculate the caste, how many caste people are there, and we don't need to have any exact data for that. Even a small variation could go with, that doesn't cause our aim and objective. But the question is, are we really serious about these aims and objectives? Now, I say, will Hindus allow people from other backward classes, OBCs, to become a Shankaracharya? This answer should come from Shankaracharya, who said that once upon a time, even a member of a Chandal caste could buy a slave. This means people of different classes or different were off at same level. I hope you are enjoying this thunder sound with my. So will that Shankaracharya who said to a person from Chaurasiya caste? Now this Chaurasiya caste is also from other backward caste, and they had a leader at the time of Dr. Ambedkar. Now are they backward? They are having cigarette and pan shops, cold drink shops at every nook and corner of India, and the money is going into cigarettes, cold drinks to them, through that to them. When they are getting money, they don't want education because their businesses are good. Educated people are walking unemployed without any work. These people have work, these people have money. Now, can you call them backward? So, that person was chosen particularly to ask that question from the Shankaracharya, as I told you, who said that at the time of Harishchandra, even a Chandal could buy a king. Now, I ask, and you ask all the Shankaracharya, can a person from OBC caste become a Shankaracharya? Forget about scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. I am not talking about them. I am sure the answer is no. Now, if the answer is no, then what change can bring by the representation in the democracy? Because our democracy is ruled by the religion, and that is the majority of the people are having the religion of Hindu religion. So democracy is, when affected by the religion, what is the guarantee that even after coming to the democratic structure in the form of political representation or in the jobs or services or even getting modern education, these same people who are already well off, these people who are devoid of the respect in their religion will get the respect, will get the respect like the respect Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj wanted. He didn't give to them. Now they say he's a Hindu ruler fighting against Mughals. If he was a Hindu ruler fighting against Mughals, why did not you did his coronation by the Vedic ceremonies? This is the question, and this is the struggle, and this is the right which these people actually wanted. I'm stopping this. It would go further. There's a thunderstorm coming. It has added a good sound effect because this video is very important, first of its kind. Now you can contact me on 852-7533-051, 852-7533-051. Another number is 88-511-88170, 88-511-88170. These numbers you can call me, you can send me WhatsApp. There is another number on which you can send me WhatsApp. The number is 844-791-3116. 844-791-3116. You can buy books of Dr. Ambedkar on caste issues from me, and please to do research. I am not a professor, I am not a teacher, I am not in any education apart from educating my brothers and sisters for the last 16 years on the social issues. So do some charity, Do support me. It is not a charity to me, it's a charity to you, it is a charity to the country. Because when you support me, you will invest in your country in the right education. Not just in education, the right education. This video is not against any political party, it's not against any religion, it's not against any caste, it's not against any class, it's not any verdictive. This video is analysis of the situation, a philosophical view on these social aspects. Do call me once, do send me message, and do save these numbers, because unless, even if you send me a message and if you don't save your number, I won't be able to send you messages of further videos or any information regarding any new book. Now this book Hoover Shudra, I have translated it into Hindi, but I don't have money, friends, so please support it. Dr. Ambedkar has said that donate 10% of your earning. I say at least donate 1% of your earning. That would be enough to sustain this emergence of the right knowledge, I would say. This is Nikhil Sabalania from New Delhi, talking to you, telling to you these things. Thank you very much.